Hello. So, my guest today is a young entrepreneur, the proud owner of a boutique pet grooming, Mikhal, or easy Miki Adnayev. Miki will tell us today about how she calls it herself, her out of box career, and her journey towards living the life she loves. Hi, Miki.
Hi.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, thank you. So, Miki, you studied for 4 years and you were studying fashion design and marketing, and you successfully graduated and got a well paid job that many young people may only dream about. And then you realized that this is not exactly what you want and that your job doesn't make you happy. So, what made you feel unhappy about it?
So I think the main thing that made me unhappy in that, considering that I spent a good chunk of my life, adult life, in that environment, is that I was feeling unfulfilled. Um, I just had this urge that I'm doing something that I've planned to do, but it's not making me happy. It's not sustaining me day to day. I was a bit miserable coming home from work, and I just felt like there was something else I was needing to do, and it wasn't in fashion.
And then you decided to leave the glam world of fashion and go for veterinary.
Yeah. So this all kind of started tumbling throughout COVID, and I feel like that's like a really common thing that I've heard that people went through. I think when you're isolated in a space, you kind of realize
Mhm.
what matters and what doesn't. And I left my job, and I kind of sat around for almost a year trying to figure out what it is that I want to do. And one of the biggest things I've always wanted to do in my life is work with animals. And I thought, okay, let me consider a veterinary career again. The only thing with that is that it's 8 years. So I was a little like, who am I sure I want to do this? So I did some research, I looked into it, and I found out that I can do it. I don't have to go back to school and change my courses to be able to apply to university, because there's another route, and that's through working with animals. So if you get a minimum amount of working with animals, then you can do a nursing course, and then you can go into a veterinary surgeon course. So I did that. Um, I have a poodle,
Mhm.
and I have to give him haircuts all the time. And so I thought, it would be really useful to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And that was my first working with animals. So I signed up to this course. It was a 3-month course, if I'm not wrong, and you got a diploma in dog grooming, dog and cat grooming.
Mhm.
So, well, actually, they call it pet grooming, but
Mhm.
you mainly work with dogs and cats. and, and yeah, and I started that, and I remember I came back after the first day, and I called my mom, and I said, this was the best day of my
Wow.
life, and this is what I want to do. And it
Amazing.
happened by accident, to be honest. I wasn't
Yeah.
planning on this.
But what an amazing feeling. I mean, I can imagine
And
that,
it
you
really
were
is.
not happy, you left and you were thinking what to do. And then, just you had the best day of your life. And that's amazing. I can only imagine how difficult it is to start your own business. I mean, I started my own business as well, but I mean, like you are so much younger, my experience helped. But it's like so many new things you need to learn. And especially in your case, when you change your career. And what was the most difficult part for you?
I think so. Initially, what I thought was going to be the most difficult part is actually setting up a business plan and all of the things that are kind of technical that I wasn't very well versed on.
Mhm.
But funnily enough, as you get through it, firstly, there's like so many things available online that
Mhm.
help you,
Mhm.
especially in the UK. We're really lucky here.
Mhm.
We have something called the Princess Trust, and they basically give you a template for everything, and you can call them and they'll help you. So actually, that was the easiest,
Mhm.
which was my first biggest fear.
Mhm.
But what I found the hardest was kind of a combination of two things. Firstly, the more technical side of it. So
Mm-hmm.
setting up the taxes, setting up the registering the business,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of terms that I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that or were done through for me, because before, when I was working for other company, the accountancy team
Mm-hmm.
dealt
Yeah.
with it all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you didn't really have to like know the stuff, and they don't teach you at school. So
Yeah. There's so
that
many
was
things you don't need to think about when you work for the corporation, for the company. Yeah.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
suddenly you are playing a role of everyone,
Yes.
and it can be a bit overwhelming. But I think another big thing, and that's for me, but I'm sure plenty of people probably agree with me, is my age, you're surrounded by social media and you see all these people your age much more successful, doing very well, and it always seems like everyone already knows what to
Yeah.
do,
Mm-hmm.
but no one actually does.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest things, because I kept stopping myself or slowing myself down, thinking, oh, they're better, they can do better, they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone starts in the same place, and it's just a case of research, research,
Yeah.
research, research. Just ask, don't be shy, ask, call,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can find. If you have
Absolutely.
friends in business, talk to them, don't be shy. Like, there's nothing you can ask that they will ever react badly to, because everyone
Yeah.
starts somewhere, and they will be more than happy to help
Mm-hmm.
you.
Absolutely. Ask for help. I always keep telling that
Always
one of
ask
the
for help.
mindsets for success is asking for help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how your family reacted to your decision? Because people of my generation, and I know your mom should be some my generation person, and even some younger people and older people, they have a certain stereotype about success of their kids.
Yeah. So it's funny. So I think I'll start with my generation. It kind of goes two ways. There's mostly people get really excited because they find out I work with puppies, and that pretty much is the end of that. They're like, you have the best job ever, you get to hang out with puppies all day, I love it. There are a few reactions that are a bit like, oh, you do this, which is a bit of a strange one. With the older generation, I think my mom is the most supportive person on this planet. She is, firstly, she is so creative and she's so driven. And this woman, well, she'll come up with an idea and she will go for it. It doesn't matter what anyone says to her, she will try. And she taught me that you
So
just
you
need to
you have
try.
role model.
And yeah, and for sure. And the same with my granddad. Like, he's a very good businessman, and he is the same. Him and my mom and me, I like to think we're like gathered together.
Yeah, yeah,
We like to push and try.
yeah.
um Everybody else was a bit unsure. I think especially culturally, there's a big push on kind of this like classic university degree.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
What you studied in your degree, you go and you do this job,
mm-hmm,
and you work in that job,
mm-hmm.
and you become the best at that job.
Yes. Yeah.
That's, and I think when you suddenly go whoop, and out of that and throw all of that time away, they start thinking, oh my God, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Have you lost your mind? I had quite a lot of people being like, you're doing what? Like,
Yeah.
you're brushing, cutting, washing dogs, like you're like a hairdresser, you're like a this. And I'm like, yeah, I am, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, funnily enough, the thing that really stops is when they start to see you're doing really well,
Yes.
much better than you were
Yeah.
doing
Oh, I'm sure
in
they
your
are now
previous
proud of you.
job.
I'm sure everyone says now, yeah, that was the right thing to do. Yeah. So,
I think so. Yeah, I think especially with the older generation, mental health was never the first
yes.
thing that you think about, and it affected so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And now that is you put that first,
Yeah.
and especially people my age, we put our mental health first,
Mm-hmm.
our happiness first, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it can be a bit shocking.
Yeah.